everybody wants to get united. Like, what we gotta do is meet everybody on 149th Street at the bench.
Hey guys, welcome back to the bench. Today I'm going to teach you guys everything you need to know about how to do basic tags in graffiti. We're going to start off as if you have zero experience, taking you from day one, and we're going to give you decades worth of information right here in this video, and we're going to make it nice and simple for you as well. Real quick, for those of you guys who don't know, I'm Jon Grim. I've been teaching graffiti for over 20 years, and we've made the best place to learn graffiti here on YouTube, so we have plenty of other tutorials if you want to dive into those. Let's get right into things. Let's not waste any time. For those of you guys who want to get the info and get out and you're not a fan of really long tutorials, here's a quick version. Keep it simple, practice the basics, learn your basic print font letters, utilizing your lettering chart. That's your baseline, mean line, cap line. Bottoms of your letters go on the baseline, middle of the letters rests on the mean line, top of the letters goes to the cap line. Start off there, and once you learn your basic structures and your negative space, then you can begin moving on to your variant structures, which we have a full tutorial for in the description down below. Alright, let's get into the proper tutorial here. When I begin teaching new graffiti artists across the board, every single time, the most common issue is brand new graffiti artists are fixated with adding style into every single letter, and this creates a domino effect of problems within their hand style. And really the issue here is that they think graffiti needs to look a certain way, and they try to make their graffiti look that way while forgetting all of the basics of penmanship that they learned back in elementary school. Believe it or not, graffiti is very similar to penmanship. Even though it uses a lot of the same fundamentals, it uses them in different ways, and it's for that reason that we need to relearn a lot of those basics, but this time through the filter of graffiti. So in graffiti we have two different types of structures. You have your basic ST, which are going to be essentially like these two letters right here. This is just the letter in its basic print font form, lowest style threshold form, which means it's as pretty much simple as it could be. And that's what these are. These are their letters that you'll be starting off with if you're day one in graffiti. Your basic ABCs, 1, 2, 3s. Nothing crazy, no style added. This is what you want to use. I can't stress that enough because almost nobody does that part. Everybody skips this part right here. From there we have the next category of letter structure, and that is your variant structure. Now variant structures are just alternate ways to write your basic print letters. As you can see here, on these iterations we still have, for example, the same exact stem as we saw over here on the basic structure, the same exact leg, but this time all that changes is the bowl. Now here's the thing to understand. There's plenty of different variant structures out there. Some letters have an enormous amount of variant structures, while other letters have absolutely no variant structures at all. Ones that come to mind immediately are O and uppercase H, for example. But all variant structures are written in stone. There's a set amount of them, and that's it. And the same thing goes for basic structures as well. There's a set amount of those as well, and we all know those already. If you want a full tutorial for variant structures, we got that in the description down below over on my website. It'll teach you everything you need to know about variant structures, but we'll also have a separate video for those in this tutorial playlist a little bit later down the line. Now, when we take both basic structures and variant structures and we combine those two categories, they create what's called your base structure. Now, base structure, essentially, all that is your starting point before adding style. That's it. So if we take any super stylized letter, we should be able to break that letter back down into its basic or variant structure, whatever the artist decided to use to build that stylistic version. For example, if we look at this R right here, it breaks down into this variant structure. If we check out this S right here, before all the style, once we strip away the extensions and we strip away all the craziness, that breaks down to your basic structure S. That's what a base structure is. So far we've gone over a ton of information in this video, and if you want a lot more, if you really want decades worth of information condensed down to a single read, check out the Ultimate Graffiti Guidebook in the description down below. It's the only book on the market that teaches you graffiti to a college level, and it does so with hundreds of pictures throughout the entire book that hold your hand through the entire process, making sure that you learn each and every single lesson as easily as possible. And for that reason, it's really easy for brand new graffiti artists to pick it up and follow along without any previous experience. For you more experienced writers though, we go into ridiculous amounts of depth into every single lesson, talking about topics that have never been talked about anywhere in the graffiti community before. So everybody of all skill levels is bound to learn something. I guarantee you, if you felt stuck or you don't know how to progress in graffiti, you've been trying to find your style, this book is exactly what you've been looking for. And we've made a coupon code specifically for you guys watching this playlist that'll give you 10% off the book. Check out our digital copies over at theartistblock.inc with physical copies over on Amazon. I got a link to both of those in the description down below. Now once again, if you're brand new, you're going to be starting off with your basic structures, and we're going to begin by writing these letters on what we're going to refer to as our lettering chart. And that's essentially this thing right here, where we have our baseline, and that's going to be where the bottoms of your letters land. Your mean line, which is going to be where the centers of your letters land, and then your cap line, which is for the tops of your letters to reach to. The space from your mean line down to your baseline is called your X height. The space from your cap line to your baseline line is called your cap height. Now there's two lines that we didn't really mention yet, and that's your ascender line and your descender line. The space from your ascender to your cap line is called your ascender space, and from your baseline to your descender is called your descender space. Now these spaces are typically used for extra little details within our hand styles. So you might see something, for example, let's just write two random letters here. We'll do hi, because I couldn't think of anything else. Your halo would go right about there in your ascender space. Quotation marks might be a little something like this, with an underline that would be in the descender space. That's just an example. Don't add all that craziness to your own hand styles. It's just to demonstrate what you're going to be doing with your ascender space and your descender space. Now, earlier we kind of hinted at the fact that Graffiti uses its fundamentals differently than what normal print font does. In your ordinary print font, we see lowercase letters are written from the mean line to the baseline and then down to the descender line. But in Graffiti, this is no good. This doesn't really work in your standard sense. Can you do it for more stylistic stuff? Sure, no doubt about it. But given that this is an introductory tutorial, we're not looking at style, we're not thinking about style, we're working on our fundamentals, and as a result, what does using your typical lowercase letter do to our hand style fundamentally? Well, fundamentally, what it ends up doing is it causes a bunch of negative space above that lowercase letter, which becomes a bit of an eyesore. It catches attention, it draws people away from the rest of the tag, and it isolates the smaller letter, meaning it also decreases flow, and it also throws off your name weight. On top of that, because our G is reaching down to the descender space, suddenly now all of this area begins to look empty. As you can see, one simple change like that has created a huge domino effect, hurting multiple different fundamentals. So in Graffiti, what do? We treat all lowercase letters like uppercase letters, meaning their bottoms are at the baseline, the center is in the mean line, and the top is at the cap line. This ensures that now suddenly our lowercase letter has the same weight, or at least a relatively similar weight, to the other letters in the name, making our lowercase letter much more comparable. Keep in mind, there's always going to be differences between different letter structures. For example, M is very naturally heavy and naturally wide and naturally large, as to where lowercase g and I, they're not as big, they're not as wide, they're not as heavy as something like a capital M is, right? And that's perfectly fine. But by treating it like an uppercase letter, out of the box, it'll work with any other print letter you throw it next to. We also now got rid of that negative space that used to be above the letter G. It fills that area. And once again, we're not building the negative space underneath the other letters. So now everything looks as it should. Everything works fundamentally. This is good. We also want to make sure that our letter is roughly the same width as our other letters. Now, it doesn't have to be exact. You'll notice it is similar. Of course, the I is going to be a lot thinner for obvious reasons. It doesn't have a lot of structure to it. But even the M is only slightly thicker than the G and the R was, which it makes sense it would be, since it's a naturally thicker letter. So if you make sure that your letter reaches from the cap line down to the baseline, and you make sure that your letter is also relatively similar in width, then all of your letters will have similar weights and you'll be perfectly good to go. So that goes ahead and covers how we build our letters with letter structure, as well as how we go ahead and handle their weight. But what about a little bit more into negative space management and letter name positioning? The two of those are going to kind of go hand in hand with your basic print letters. In basic print, we were taught that our letters should be positioned something like this. And while that could certainly work in Graffiti, it's a little bit too far for what we're looking for. In Graffiti, letters tend to overlap very slightly. Now, the reason we want to do this is because it helps to maximize flow, which we'll get into in a little bit, but it also helps the name look more uniform, more cohesive, and ultimately, that's really what we're looking for. Especially in Graffiti, where there might be slight variations between the different letters you choose, and these variations can make letters look less cohesive. So if we're able to go ahead and make things look more cohesive in any way we can, we're going to go ahead and try to do that, especially for our early on basic print letters. Now, you don't want your letters to overlap too much, otherwise you'll end up distorting letter structure and losing letter structure in areas like these where we can no longer define one part of a letter, in this case our M or our N. These lines marked in red end up getting lost, as does these lines of our O. By overlapping this much, you end up destroying your hand styles. Your tag ends up looking muddied and clustered and claustrophobic. We don't want that, right? We want to separate things a little bit more. We also don't want to have things too separate, otherwise they look disjointed, and suddenly one letter doesn't look like it really is part of the same word as the second or the third letter. So we want things close enough to look like a word, but not too close, because we still want them to define their own letter structures. As shown here, yeah, our G and our U overlap, but you're still able to define this part of our G away from this part of our G and this part of our U. None of the letter structures get really muddied up. We also are really careful to include a little bit of negative space right in this area here to ensure that there's separation between our letter structures. That way we can still easily define each letter and the letters retain their clarity. Now, a topic that kind of relates to our negative space and how our letters are positioned is our nib width. We have to not only be really careful with the size of the nib we're using, but also what we're writing on. A lot of times you'll see brand new graffiti artists, man, they'll have a sign like this big, and they'll decide to go and take their largest marker or a spray can, and they'll do the biggest tag on that thing, and they can't fit it. They get to like the second or third letter in their name, and they're already running out of space, and they gotta start going down the side, and it's like, what are you doing, man? Stop it. Stop it. You shouldn't have been tagging that in the first place. So if you want to avert a crisis like that, then pay attention to the size of the tool you're using. Let's demonstrate how that might look, right? So let's say we have a marker that's way too big, and we start rocking our tag, but now suddenly, because of the size of our marker, we're not able to really, I didn't expect this to be this thick, we're not able to establish our structure, and we can't see any of these letters. Even though I wasn't expecting a marker this thick, this isn't too far from reality. I've seen people do stuff like this plenty of times. So we always want to pay attention to the surface that we're writing on and how much room we have for the nib that we're using. Otherwise, you'll end up with something like this, where now suddenly our letters are bleeding together, their structures are less defined, they don't have a lot of clarity, so on and so forth. On the flip side of that, you also want to grab a super thin marker and then start doing hand styles that are larger than your nib really allows for, because then you're going to end up with letters that look disjointed, they don't really look all that strong, they look lanky and weak. This is something we oftentimes see when people are practicing. So try and stay aware of what you're writing on and the size of your tag / nib. Now this brings us to flow. Flow is one of the easiest topics in graffiti, and yet it's one of the most misunderstood, and that's because when a new graffiti artist messes anything up in their hand styles or in their graffiti in general, they don't understand the fundamentals enough to perceive that mistake, and immediately they use flow as a patsy, as a way to kind of blame something when they don't know what else to blame. Because of that, flow takes a lot of the flack, and people don't really bother to learn how flow works. But it's really simple. Here's the guide, here's the tip. I'm telling you, for those guys who are new, this is gonna blow your mind. Flow is never the problem. It is never the problem under any circumstance. If ever you look at your work and you think flow is the issue, it 100% of the time is a different fundamental that's causing the issue. And the reason for this is because, well, our basic print letter flows automatically. And because our basic print letters, our base structures all flow with one another automatically, this means flow happens in your work automatically. All you have to do is just get the fundamentals right, and if you do that, well, your flow is perfectly fine. So this also means that the only way to mess flow up is to mess up the other fundamentals. If you mess up the other fundamentals, or if you add a lot of style, which then will mess up the other fundamentals if you don't do it properly, then that is the only way to mess up flow. That's it. And here's the kicker that takes a lot of people a lot of time to learn. Style, it's just the exaggeration of the fundamentals. That's all it is. It's nothing more than that. But it's the exaggeration of the fundamentals while keeping the fundamental correct. Because we are amateurs, we don't yet know the fundamentals. Meaning, we can't possibly exaggerate the fundamentals and keep them correct consistently, which is why whenever we add style to our work, we make mistakes that then make it harder for us to learn. So when we practice the basics, we really want to do it with zero style. Alright, so some basic things that you're going to want to do to practice. If you're day one in graffiti, you really should be working on lines, shapes, and your basic structures. That means you're doing your normal ABCs, 1, 2, 3s with zero style added, writing it properly on the cap line, mean line, and base line, and you're trying to have as clean of a shape as you possibly can, and as clean of a line as you possibly can. Most brand new graffiti artists have sloppy lines and sloppy shapes, and this leads to sloppy letters because, you guessed it, our letters are made out of shapes and lines. So if you can't do a solid line and shape, then you're not really going to have clean letters. That should be the majority of your practice. Once you get comfortable making clean lines and shapes, and once you've gotten comfortable using your lettering chart and proper positioning, and you can accurately do every single basic structure you attempt without needing to draw the lettering chart, then you can move on to your variant structures. And then once you can do these on your lettering chart without needing to draw the chart, by that point you'll notice that style begins to come very easily, very naturally, without you really having to force it or copy other people. Dudes, that pretty much wraps up today's video. Let me know what you guys thought about it in the comments down below. We're gonna have a lot more tutorials on this channel as well, so if you don't want to miss out on those, be sure to go ahead and subscribe. Also, don't forget, if you're tired of struggling to learn graffiti, you want to put all that frustration in the past, check out our How to Do Graffiti book in the description down below. It's the best one on the market. Honestly, I guarantee you it's exactly what you're looking for. Want the best graffiti tutorials anywhere online? We got those right over here with more graffiti content right down here, and I'll catch you guys back here next week. Thanks for watching.